Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Gary with the Get Some podcast. And my guest this week is...
This motherfucker Gary.
What's up? What's up, everybody? This is Gary Owen with the Get Some podcast. I will start with my schedule. This weekend, I'm in Baltimore, Maryland, at the Baltimore Comedy Factory. I'm actually there for 2 weeks. So I'm there February 28th through March 2nd, and then I'm there March 7th through March 9th. So we got 12 shows for sale. I think the first one, the early show Saturday is already gone. So we got 11 more to sell. So hopefully we sell them out. And then the weekend after that, I'm in Nashville, Tennessee. Nashville, a.k.a. Cashville. Nashville will be at Zany's March 14th, 15th, and 16th. 6 shows. And then March 21st, 22nd, I'm in the Virgin Islands. St. Thomas on March 21st and St. Croix on March 22nd. All links are on my website, garyowen.live. And then Atlanta, the Cobb Energy Center, April 4th, and then April 5th, I'm in Richmond, Virginia at the Altria Theater. Hope I said that right. And then April 10th, 11th, 12th, I'm in Houston, Texas at the Improv. And then I'm there the week after that also. So I got 2 weeks in Houston. And then just announced today, Las Vegas, July 12th, Palms Casino, the Pearl Theater inside the Palms. So tickets go on sale tomorrow. So, July 12th. That's where I'm at. I was off last weekend. That was, I like to always start with a yawn. Let me see. I had some stuff I want to talk about. So as I'm recording this, nobody on the Bengals has been signed yet. Jamar hasn't signed. T hasn't signed. Trey Hendricks hasn't signed. Mike Gesicki hasn't signed. But the combine's going on right now. Duke Tobin is saying all the right things. Zach Taylor saying all the right things. They said they're going to make Jamar the highest paid non-quarterback player in the NFL. They said they want to re-sign Tito long-term, re-sign Trey to a long-term, and bring Gesicki back. So why is this happening again? We'll see. Talk's cheap and I'm all to change, but they're saying all the right things. So that's the power of Joey B, baby. That is the power of Joe Burrow. Because after Hughley put the gauntlet down, they had to let him know. So I took the weekend off last week. So I was I want to tell a story about I was in Charlotte. I was at a restaurant called Leo's Italian restaurant in Charlotte, North Carolina. And I got there and I sat down probably about 5 o'clock on a Sunday. So it was like the pre-dinner crowd because, people don't start going to dinner till like 6 unless you're 80. And so I sat down. Nobody was really there. Wasn't very crowded. Nice spot. Food ended up being really good. They had a gluten-free Italian pasta. And nobody served me for and I'm not exaggerating, 8 to 10 minutes. I'm talking no water. They're just walking by. And I started to get a little frustrated. Like I was about to say something. I said, let me just be calm, relax. Not a big deal. And then my waitress came over and her name was Bridget. I want to make sure I give her the proper credit. The first thing she did was apologize. Oh, she goes, has anybody helped you? I said, no, I haven't even got water yet. She goes, oh, I'm sorry. She said, we're in shift change right now. So you probably got caught up in the shift change, which happens. And that's probably why nobody has come over. Because I was wondering, they had 6 waiters and waitresses, and they're just walking by me, just staring. And I'm just like, I put my menu down. I gave all the clues that I'm ready to order. I sat with my legs crossed. I started looking around. I got off my phone. And they're just, nobody saying nothing. And then Bridget came over and owned it. My bad, there's a shift change. And then I ordered. And then she apologized again. She must have apologized 4 times while I was eating. And couldn't be more pleasant. Made my dining experience very good, and I tipped good because of it. Because I'm one of them guys, like, I'm a good tipper, but if the service is bad, I'll tip, but not as much as you could have got. I try to always at least tip 20%, but if it's great service, I go way over, and if it's not, you just get the basic 20. But Bridget just made the dining experience that much better. So if anybody goes to Leo's Italian restaurant in Charlotte, let them know Bridget made my dining experience pleasurable when it started off a little rocky. And then here's what's funny. I got my earbuds in. I left them in the restaurant. I kept my earbuds in, but I left the case, the charger. And I had to go back to the restaurant to get my case. I can't believe it's happening again. This is going to be called Get Some Yawn. But I had to go back and get my case. And if you don't tip good and you got to go back to the restaurant, it's kind of embarrassing. So I walked in there with all kinds of confidence. I left my headphones and they had them. And because I tip good, so I was like, oh, they're not going to say nothing bad about me. So yeah, so Leo's Italian restaurant in Charlotte, Bridget, thank you again. So I'll tell you the big thing I want to talk about this week is I was watching Gillie, the kid, last week on Club Shay Shay. And I would if anybody has a chance, listen to it. And then Wallow was on this week and he was good. Well, Gillie was 2 weeks ago. Wallow was last week. I keep forgetting I had a week off. But Gillie basically was like, they brought up that kid, Noah Scurry. If you don't know the story, there's a kid, 18 years old, named Noah Scurry out of Philly, and like an honor roll student, good basketball player, basically everything you think would lead to be successful after high school. Well, he's caught up in the whole gang culture and trying to make a name for himself, and he's the one that killed Gillie's son. And Shannon brought it up, and then Gillie's like, that's the kid that killed my son. And Shannon's like, what? And he was like, yeah, the guy out of Philly killed my son. And there's always rumors when Gillie's son got killed last year that it was gang related. This kid did it. And then this kid, Noah Scurry, he ended up getting killed in the morning in front of his mother in the middle of the street by some rival gangs. And I'm just going, and the way Gillie just put it out there, it was almost like it really had nothing to do with my son. It was like he had to get a body to prove himself to the gang, and his son was just wrong place, wrong time. And I mean, that's what Gillie said. I'm not an expert. I don't have any like factual basis on any of this, but Gillie seems to know more often than not, like he's right, especially when it comes to Philly. And it's just a sad story of, so you have the brains and you have the athletic ability to get out of the ghetto, to get out of the hood, to get out of the gang culture, and you're choosing to stay in it. And it's almost like social media can be good and it can be bad. And I think it was very bad in this case, obviously, because now 2 people are dead, Noah Scurry and Gillie's son. And he was making like a rap video where his persona was the Joker. And they got this whole rap song. They got guns and stuff, and the song. I mean, it's it's like 30 dudes and then 80 guns in the video. Pretty sure the guns are real. And for the video to get released and him to die shortly after it's released, the Noah Scurry kid. And at first when it happened, everyone was like, oh my God, they murdered this honor roll student, star basketball player. And then there was like, nobody's safe. And then come to find out, there was probably retaliation for something he did in the gang world. Just the way Gillie just said it on the podcast, like, yeah, that's the guy that killed my son. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's him. Yeah. It was jarring, to say the least. And then Wallow goes on the week after Gillie, and Wallow had said, like, his brother got killed. And he was like, I had to forgive the guy that killed my brother, because if I didn't, then when does the cycle stop? And then he goes, Wallow just makes a lot of sense. He was like, more guys have been killed and gone to prison because of ego. And I was like, man, even as a white guy from a trailer park, and I think trailer parks have all the problems of black ghettos, except we don't have the gun violence. That's pretty much the only difference. Because trailer parks and any Section 8 housing are urban area with let's just say black and white. You correlate trailer park with white people. You correlate the projects with black people. There's not a lot of difference as a guy that grew up in a trailer park, other than gun violence. And the murder rate is a lot higher than trailer parks. I don't know if we can't organize. We don't have gangs like that. But as far as like government cheese, welfare, food stamps, no hope of getting out. You see the cycle repeated over and over again. It's the same. A lot of people end up in jail for various reasons. But it's just for some reason, the trailer parks don't have the gun violence and the murder rate of the projects. But all the issues at the core are the same. No hope, broken homes, and the cycle getting repeated. And, Wallow, if you get a chance, man, listen to the Gillie one and then listen to Wallow. And those guys just, they're obviously they're captivating. They've got a huge deal with $1 Million Worth of Game podcast, but you see who they are on these interviews. So it was just interesting. And it was I don't know, it just gets you like reminiscent, right? About your whole life and how things can go left, things can go right. Egos get involved. You want retribution when things happen. And I was thinking, like, I'm not a very violent person. I've walked away from more skirmishes than anything else. And I always say, like, whenever you almost get in a fight at night or things almost can happen, if you walk away and you leave, no matter what everybody calls you, they call you a pussy, they say, I can't believe you walked away. Listen, you never got, 9 out of 10, you never got to see those people again. If you're at nightclubs or you're out in the town. And also the next morning when you wake up, when you eating breakfast, the last thing you're really thinking about is like, man, I wish I would have gotten that fight last night. Because here's the thing about fighting. If you win, your hands hurt. If talking about fist fight. And if you lose, your face hurts. And then if the cops are called, it's just an inconvenience. Nobody wants to be inconvenienced with that shit. So I don't know. I always just walked away from shit all the time. And then I was thinking, like, there was a couple times in my life where I had instances where things could have went left. And okay, I'll give you a couple. I was in New York one time. I was a comedian. I was pretty established. It was probably like 2000. 2010 or 11, somewhere around there. And I was at a lounge and I was talking to this guy and girl, and that I knew they had to have some money or some substance to them, and they weren't from this country, but I don't know the level. And all of a sudden this bouncer comes over, this brother, got long dreads and stuff. And he goes, "Hey man, stop talking to him." And I went, "Huh?" He goes, "Yeah, stop talking to him." And I go, "Them?" He goes, "Yeah, is that a problem?" And I'm going, "Oh, this guy wants a fight, or he's really escalating this." And I was like, I said something kind of smart aleck, like, cause I'm a comedian. And he like jumped, he looked at me. And then I just kind of walked to the other side of the bar, left him alone, because I was like, this ain't worth it. But that's an instance where a security guy it was clear he was trying to like get me going. And I was just like, oh no, I'm not playing this game. I don't know these people. But then I stayed at the other end of the bar, and when I saw them and I just saw how they were moving, I was like, okay, these people clearly, you can tell when somebody's got some power or some money. And just because I don't know them, and they weren't from this country, I don't know, could have been that Arab money or something like that. But the bouncer was clearly trying to start some shit. And I just didn't let it happen. So I don't know if I ever shared this story though, but there was one time, this is kind of funny. I was at San Diego State. And I was in the Navy, and I was starting to do stand-up. Like I was starting to make a little name for myself around San Diego. So it was a night of somebody's fight. It was a pay-per-view fight, and I was playing flag football at the time. And back in the day, late 90s, I don't know if San Diego still does, but they had a hell of a flag football league. And it was Saturday mornings, and then you start, so my circle of friends started to change. I went from all Navy guys hanging out to now I was hanging out with comedians and guys in my flag football league. So you're getting a real diverse group, right? So I'm hanging out with a bunch of guys in my flag football league, and one guy was DJing this frat party at San Diego State. So we were going to go out. A bunch of us was meeting at the frat party, and then we was going to go hit some nightclubs in San Diego that night. And so I got to the frat party early because I wanted to watch this pay-per-view fight. Now on the West Coast, these pay-per-view fights start at 7 p.m. and they're over by 10. So East Coast kind of sucks when it comes to pay-per-view, whether it's UFC or boxing, because it's not coming on till 10. It's not ending till 1. And if you're trying to watch the fight and go out, you can't in a lot of cities. That's the good thing of living on the West Coast. So we got there early. We watched whatever fight it was. It could have been I don't think it was a Mayweather fight. It was like I had some Roy Jones is popping. It's probably a Roy Jones fight or a Julio Cesar Chavez fight, something like that, or De La Hoya or something, one of those fights. But anyways, I watched the fight at this frat house in San Diego State, and I had a leather jacket on, and I took my jacket off and I left it in this guy's room. So now my buddy's there and he's DJing, and we got some other guys from the football team coming, and my flag football team was mostly Filipino and black guys. I think there was me and one other white guy on the team. And so the guy DJing was I think he was Filipino and black. He was mixed. And it's just me and him. I don't know anybody else at this party. I'm just there because the guy on my flag football team is DJing. But he knew everybody in the frat. And I'm sitting here BSing with like 8 guys in the frat. And everybody's being cool. We're watching the fight, having some beers. So we get done watching the fight now. We go out, and all of a sudden the frat party just started jumping. So this is probably, let's say 11:30. So it's jumping. I'm waiting for my the other boys to get here from my flag football team so we can go out. And this is like pager era. Not everybody has a cell phone. Some people did, but not a lot. So you can't just text and call people like you can now. So I'm just kind of waiting it out. Well, I was like, well, I'm gonna go to the front and wait for my guys in the front because frat parties, man, in San Diego State, they'll be in the house, but they'll be in the front yard too. So I said, I'm gonna go to the front yard, but I want to get my jacket. So now they got like a freshman that's trying to get in this frat, guarding the hallway doors to get to the bedrooms. So I go to him, I say, hey man, I'm just trying to get my jacket. And I said, I'm about to get out of here. He goes, well, he was like a little guy. He goes, I got to get clearance. He was a little chubby dude. He goes, I got to get clearance and I can let you back here. I said, you ain't even got to let me back, bro. I said, that first room on the left, my leather jacket is in there. I said, it's almost like a half trench. I go, somebody can just grab it. He goes, he's very stressed. As me and him are like just having a cordial, nice conversation, a couple guys come out of the hallway to go into the main area of the party. And I guess they were seniors or juniors. They were in the frat. They go, we told you, plebe, nobody back here. And so now the little fat kid started yelling at me. He goes, motherfucker, nobody's getting back here. And I'm like, what just happened? So now his hand is damn near, he's not hitting my hand, but he's so close, his finger. You're not getting back here. He starts yelling. So they yelled at him, and he's yelling at me. So I'm like, oh, shit. He's getting so close, his face and his finger. I grabbed him and pushed him back. Now, I didn't punch him. I didn't push him like this. I held him and pushed him back like this. So now all these frat dudes just saw me grab one of their boys. It was fucking fists of fury on Gary Owen. I was getting hit from every direction. I was like, what? So I grabbed the kid. And keep in mind, I'm only 22, maybe at this time. And I'm backed against the wall and he's in front of me. So I'm holding him and they can't really get to me because I'm blocking everything with him. And finally, a couple of the guys the older guys go, hey, break it up. And everybody stops hitting me. Everybody got kind of calm for a minute. And they grab me and they're literally get me out of the house to get to the front yard. And then they're going, I'm still going, I just got to get my jacket, bro. I'm just trying to get my jacket. And then, man, as I was on the way out, somebody comes from behind with a full, thank God it was a beer can, not a beer bottle. Bam! Back of my head. I was like, there was a knot on my head, but it wasn't like I almost got knocked out or anything like that. Thank God it was a can of beer, and he kind of came sideways with it, like he had the beer like this. Back of my head. So I'm going, really, bro? So now I'm in the front yard, and I'm still like, I just want to get my jacket. So they're like, we're going to call the cops. I said, and what are you going to tell them? And they go, well, you're not going to call them because I'm sure you got underage drinking going on. And you guys jumped me. So what are you really going to call the cops for? Because I didn't throw a punch. So, of course, they didn't call the cops. As I'm sitting in the front of the frat house now, and I got all these guys warning me that they're going to do something to me. This is hysterical. 3 guys from my flag football team showed up, all black dudes. And they was like, what the hell's going on, Gary? Keep in mind, the frat's all white. There's a number of white dudes at this house party. And then, or frat party, I should say. So I said, dude, I just got fucking like jumped and I'm just trying to get my jacket. And they're like, what? They walk me in the middle of the house. Like the 3 brothers surround me, and they were decent sized brothers too. I'm a big dude, but they were just as big as me. And they're like, now the DJ who does all this frat parties, who knows all the frat guys, the senior guys, now he's like, they came in, they go, they fucking jump Owen. They jump Gary. He goes, what? He turned the freaking music off, gets on his microphone, he goes, who the fuck jumped my boy? And then one of the brothers, he was always like little on edge. One guy on my face, he goes, just tell me, Gary, I've been waiting to knock somebody out. Point somebody out. I go, no. I've always been a guy no, I don't want this thing to escalate. I don't need, he goes, man, I've been waiting to knock somebody out. Just point somebody out. Tell me. Party's over, right? All these white dudes were hiding in their rooms, and they got these deadbolts on. They locked them, and the dudes are like knocking on their door, and the one guy, they're all going, "We ain't know, bro. We ain't know, bro." And they're like, they go, "What you want to do, Gary?" I go, "I just want my fucking jacket, bro. I'm ready to go." So I just remember my jacket got held out like this on a hand. Got my jacket. We left. Went out to the Gaslamp District in San Diego. Had a great night of partying. It was funny. But it just goes to show how things can go from 0 to 100 quick. And I'm always one to be like, I'll back up, you know? So that was the time I got jumped to San Diego State. Didn't have any marks on me, but did have a knot the next day on my head. So, cause yeah, it's funny. Like I got jumped to San Diego State. Keep in mind, I'm older. I think I've had a pretty charmed life as far as like being on the road as much as I have, being in nightclubs as much as I have. I've never had like a lot of bad things happen. Detroit, I got sucker punched. I've told that story before. At Lyceum in Detroit. San Diego State, I got jumped. And then the Indiana that night. I think those are the only 3 nights I could really say like, you know, Indiana, the Indianapolis thing, I didn't get jumped, but I got escorted out of a nightclub for no reason. And then Detroit was some girls thought I called them bitches. And then this San Diego State thing when I want to get my jacket. So yeah, like I said, I'm a happy drunk when I drink. So that's why I probably don't get in a lot of stuff. But as many times I've been to bars and guys try to start shit and I just walked away. Oh, I could have been in a lot of worse situations. I told you the military story at the Crazy Horse in DC when I got hit over the head with a bottle and I cut my head right here. I wasn't even in that fight. I was just standing there. And it's funny, all this stuff happened. San Diego State, I was probably 22. The Navy, I was 19. Detroit, that happened. I was probably 30. I was probably 31. And then the Indiana thing happened. It was 2016. Man, that was 9 years. The Indiana thing happened 9 years ago. So yeah, I was 39 maybe. So yeah, I'm pretty spaced out. I mean, it sounds bad when I say these 4 things happened to me in my life, but really if you think about it, it's not that bad. Then I always, only went to the hospital on one occasion because of going out on a weekend. And that was DC, getting over there with a beer bottle. Bing! That I would have had nothing to do with. That was just a bar fight that happened at a military bar. I was like, so yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. So another thing I saw, I don't know, when you got a lot of time off, you start watching a lot of podcasts. I was watching All the Smoke, and they had DL Hughley on it. And DL was like, you know what I like about DL Hughley is like, he's very opinionated. He's very passionate about his way of thinking. He's one of my favorite people just to hang out with. But you don't have to agree with everything he says. And he can still like be cool. Like you can have a difference of opinion. And this is going to be one of those moments. He said he would never go on Shannon Sharp's podcast, Club Shay Shay, just because, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but divisive. And it could be a positive platform. He doesn't feel like that's what it's doing, basically. Feel like it's creating more of a divide in the comedy community than anything else. And I don't know, I see it, but I also think nobody can make you say anything you don't want to say. And you can only make yourself look crazy. So it's like, Shannon Sharp can ask a question, but it's on you if you want to go down that road, if you want to go in on people. Like when I've done Vlad TV, and Vlad's, Vlad will try to take you down that road too. But I'm always like, I can navigate my way through stuff and not have to throw people under the bus, because especially when I was dealing with my divorce, that was real easy. A lot of people wanted me to throw my ex under the bus and go in on her. I'm like, they ain't gonna help nobody. Or kids, or my boy that did do me wrong. I'll never say his name because I don't want him to draw any attention. But you can't. If I say something, that's on me. If I make myself look bad. So I disagree with DL in the fact that Shannon's just writing up questions, and he's come to figure out that comedians are drawing the big numbers on Shannon Sharp's podcast. And that's what's crazy to me. You figure it'd be the athletes or the singers or actors, actresses. No. If you look at Club Shay Shay, the big numbers are comedians. Like I bet you look at his top 50 interviews as far as number wise, I bet you 30, 35's comics. Easy. Hold on. I'll look it up right now. Hey, this podcast is brought to you by Blue Chew. Now listen, if you want to have the best, you know what I'm talking about, doing the nasty of your life, you got to start taking Blue Chew, baby. I mean, I'll put it like this. They made in the USA. I mean, this is American made right here. This is straight steel. This is what you want. And you can take them anytime. Like if the time's right and it's time to do what you do, pop a Blue Chew. Daytime, nighttime, really anytime. So listen, I always want my soldier a full salute. And I want to make sure I'm not going to battle with my guns not loaded. So that's what Blue Chew does. So we got to call to action. We got to get this done, people. All right? So this is what I want you to do. I want you to make life easier by getting harder. And I want you to discover your options at bluechew.com. And we got a special deal for all our listeners. Try your first month of Blue Chew free. Again, first month of Blue Chew free. Visit bluechew.com for more details and important safety information. And as always, we want to thank Blue Chew for sponsoring this podcast and just being you, Blue Chew, through and through, doing what you do, baby. Thank you, Blue Chew. God, why is it when I get on my podcast, now the internet wants to run slow? I think it's where my office is. You guys see the black? I heard you guys with my white background looking like I'm in a insane asylum. So we got some stuff coming. I moved my podcast. I built a home office at my house, and it's just I just want to have it right when it's time. I don't want to just because I want my office to be dope. I don't want to just be throwing stuff on the wall just to throw stuff on the wall. I want it to be dope. Okay, here we go. I mean, he had Kamala Harris. She's got 1.6 million views 3 months ago. That's when she was running for president. I thought that one was going to be through the roof. I was shocked. So if you look at Club Shay Shay and you look at his top, oh my God. I mean, obviously we know Cat's the number one, right? So videos. And we'll go popular. Cat. Comedian, 88 million views. Monique, comedian, 18 million views. Steve Harvey, comedian, 12 million views. Marlon Wayans, comedian, 9.3 million views. Country Wayne, comedian, 8 million views. And then the first athlete, we're going a little athlete run here. You got Ocho Cinco, then Barkley, then Dion. And they're all 6.9, 6.5, 6.5 million views. Then it's DC Youngfly, 6 million views. Lavelle Crawford, 5.5 million views. So right there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. His top 5 are comedians. And then you got some of Cat's excerpts are mixed in here. I'm just going off the full episode. Just the full episode. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The top 6 are comedians as far as views. And then you get 3 athletes and then DC Youngflies. So you got 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah. 7 of the top 10 are comedians. So you got 1 through 6, and 7, 8, 9 are athletes, and then 10 is Dece Young Fly. And then 11 is Lavelle. And then you got Cam is 12. So it's 4 athletes, 8 comedians. Then you got Terry Crews, actor, just snuck in there. And then 21 Savage, rapper. And then I'm next. I got 4.6 million. And then Tyrese is after me at 4.4. So I'm at 4.6. Let's see exactly how many I got. I got 4.673. So I'll get the 4.7 in a month. And then Tyrese is 4.4. Let's see. He's at 4.444. So a couple 100,000 behind. And then Stephen A. Smith. And then Usher, Marshawn Lynch. And then you go on another run of comedians. Earthquake, Godfrey, Ricky Smiley. Then you got Chris Brown, Johnny Manziel, Dwayne Wade. Then Carlos Miller, Cedric, Desi Banks, Amanda Seales. So you see, like, comedians are just crushing it on Shannon Sharp's podcast. And then it's crazy. You would have never thought when he started it, comedians would be the one, but that's what it is. So yeah, watch the Wallow and Gillie one. So I watched a movie, and I don't know how I missed this movie. Let me make sure. It's called Bone Tomahawk. When you off for a couple weeks, you start watching stuff you've never seen. And Kurt Russell's in it. Let me read what it's about. If you guys get a chance, watch it. Just like it's not Southside Hero, the Tubi one. Did I see it on Netflix or somewhere else? Bone Tomahawk. Western horror. 2015. Great cast. Kurt Russell. Bone Tomahawk is a 2015 American Western film written and directed by S. Craig Zahler and is directorial debut starring Kurt Russell, Patrick Wilson, Matthew Fox, Richard Jenkins, Lily Simmons, Evan Junkite, David Arquette, Zon McLaren, and Sid Haig. It is produced. Okay, the film is about a small town sheriff who leads a posse into a desolate region to rescue 3 people who were abducted by a cannibalistic Native American clan. Let me tell you something. There's some brutal deaths in this one. If you like brutal deaths, you want to see Bone Tomahawk. Damn, it didn't make no money. It had a $1.8 million budget and only made $475,000 at the box office. That's wild to me. I never heard of this movie. I never saw any promos for it. I don't know how I missed it. And it's pretty freaking good. If you like Westerns and you like brutal deaths, because there's some brutal shit that goes on with these cannibalistic Indians that live in this cave in the middle of nowhere. So, yeah, if you get a chance, Bone Tomahawk. Let me see if it's on Netflix. Where can you see it right now? Because I think I saw it on Netflix. Is it on Netflix? It's available to stream on Netflix. Okay, yeah. So if you everybody got Netflix. Just go see Bone Tomahawk, all right? It's pretty good. And we'll put the poster up so you can see it right here. But you can watch it on Apple TV, Amazon Video. It's everywhere. Yeah, it's everywhere. It's funny how these movies like sneak through the cracks and you just like, where was I in 2015? I wasn't that busy. Should have saw them. And nobody saw it. That movie only made a $1.8 million budget with Kurt Russell should make some money off Kurt Russell's name alone. The fact that it didn't make nothing, I wonder what happened. Usually when something like that happens, they put nothing into promotion. They probably just released it. It was in the movies for like a week or two and then dipped. But it's pretty freaking good if you like that type of movie. So technically it wasn't made as a mainstream movie. It's a low budget independent film. Yeah, 1.8 million isn't that. In no way is it a mainstream movie. The question is, how did they land such a good cast? That's what I was thinking. No major studio participation or distribution. That's wild to me. With that cast? That's wild. And on the review say the same thing. Like, how come nobody heard of this movie? And this cast is amazing. Yeah. This one is a great one. Just watched Bone Tomahawk and holy shit. That movie was fucking insane and actually pretty scary. Movies don't creep me out anymore, but some scenes are really creepy. I'm telling you, man, some of the death scenes, these cannibalistic Native Americans are no joke. No joke. Okay, I'll give you one death. That's all you gotta know. They put like, the guy's alive, and they like put like spikes in his eyes. He's like, no, sorry. They scalp him. So now he's still alive, but you get scalped just like, and then they put spikes in his eyes, and then they put a big spike in his mouth. So now he's scalped. Now he can't see. And then, and that's what kills him. Then they turn him upside down, and they basically take a hammer and spike, and his body just splits. And he's naked. So he's naked doing all this. So they split his body, and you just see his guts and everything just spill out. You're like, I just never seen a death like that. And the special effects was pretty freaking amazing to have a low budget movie like this. I'm like, it does not look like a low budget movie, I'll tell you that. So anyways, enough. You see the movie's pretty good. I'll probably watch it again. So yeah. So anyways, hopefully when we come back next week, Jamar's signed, T and Trey are on the way to get signed, Mike Gesicki signed, and I don't know, I feel like Joe Burrow's he's gonna change the whole way we do business in Cincinnati. Come on. And yeah, this weekend I'm in Baltimore. This week and next week at the Baltimore Comedy Factory. So come out and see me, and we'll see you guys next week. This is Gary Owen with the Get Some Podcast.
This motherfucker Gary.